Well, bloody hell. Let's see how this thing works. Okay, well, there we go, and here we are, I guess. This is, as I'm sure you could tell by the thumbnail that you clicked on, if you saw the thumbnail, that this is the first ever hobby with the homie. So we're just, I don't really know, I guess. Usually, I kind of, the idea for this going forward is going to be that I'm going to be doing this with my friend, but I guess it's just me today. This is kind of just a little test. Uh, I wouldn't even call it the true maiden voyage. We're just trying to pop the boat in the water and see if it floats, really. So, yeah, this is it. Let's see if anyone joins, I guess. Obviously, yeah, I guess I'll just kind of crack on until someone joins. Right. Here is the first time of the Christmas. No, I'll be totally honest. I don't really know much of what to talk about. Um, I didn't really think before I just turned the bloody camera on. So I typically would like to come armed with a few little topics, but today I just wanted to whack it on and just see what happens really. So let me just talk about kind of what is going to be going on this channel. So a few months ago, probably more than a few months ago now, such as time flies, I uploaded a video onto this channel, which was a painting tutorial on how to do these xenomorph tyranids, and it went really well, and it was off of the back of watching the Alien Romulus film. I was sat there in the cinema with my little brother, and I was looking at the xenomorph on the screen and thinking about just things in general. You know, I don't know if anybody else can attest to this, but for me, with this hobby, I kind of I kind of dip in and out, and I'm either all in or I'm all out. So I'll have cycling interests where I'll have a whole month where pretty much nothing else I really want to, I can bend my mind to is anything but Warhammer 40k, whatever. I did a hobby in painting, playing, um, and then I have months where or spans of time where I just don't even think about it at all, and it's almost like I'm not in the room when the decision gets made that's flipped, and then suddenly it's on again. So anyway, that's where I'm at. And I was sat in the cinema, and I just had that sudden idea. I was like, oh, I've had this thought before. Let me do Xenomorph Tyranids, and I did them. Um, and it went ridiculously well. I mean, I think that tutorial, that video got 30,000 views. I think it's sat on about 28 or something, which is insane. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the last thing I made that was really had any effort in it. So what I'm doing right now is obviously putting a bit of camouflage on this tank. Putting camouflage on tanks is kind of one of those things where like it's really daunting, and it really worries you that you're going to get it wrong. But to be fair, it's not I remember trying it when I was younger and it just didn't work. It just looked like absolute shit. But this is going pretty well. I'm going to start a new patch just to kind of show how I kind of come across these shapes that look pretty decent. Hello, I'm Amrali. Amirali. Hello, mate. How you doing? Thank you for the first comment. That's very nice of you. Appreciate it. I'm just going to show you on a patch here at the back where I haven't really done any. Kind of the kind of way I approach making these shapes. And they kind of look, I mean, there's probably a million different ways to do this better than I've done it. But let me just show you what this turns out to be before we go any further. Down the line, this is the very bare bones of it. It kind of turns out to look like that. And to be quite honest with you, I don't think I did it very well here. And I think I've kind of started to perfect the actual pattern before the weathering and the rust and all that kind of goes on. You can see I've got a basilisk here to start on soon too. So obviously I'm up to this point already. So I'm just going to show you how I kind of go about putting these shapes on and kind of what I'm thinking. Because really that's all you need to kind of get down is like a pattern of thinking while you're doing it. So I'll start by making like a kind of a line shape like that. And then I'll just pick one direction to kind of go off in. So we should say that one. And then maybe if I'm feeling a bit of interest, I'll just put like a little extra bit on. I don't want to go in more than 3 directions with any one of them. And yeah, all I need to do now is just kind of wait for that section to dry. And you have to do it about 3 times to be fair. So that's the first one. Well, thank you for everybody who's joined already. It's very very humbling. I didn't actually really expect anyone to join. I think I've had like 20 people join so far, and that's pretty crazy. So thank you very much for taking the time out of your evening to hop onto here, and hopefully we get some more people stopping off to do a bit of hobbying with us tonight. It's great. I mean, I kind of wish I could hear you guys talking. That would be great. I mean, if you want to throw anything in, maybe I should have something where I kind of ask questions or kind of throw things up for people to talk about. And then I can kind of respond to them. We can kind of kick things off like that. I'm afraid that I'm not particularly armed with things to talk about. So yeah. Thanks for the likes already, guys. It's very appreciated. Very much so appreciated. So this is part of a Krieg force that you can see up here. I've kind of got this guy sitting reading this map. And in my headcanon, I kind of like the fact that this guy's kind of going along, sat there, trying to read the map and blasting a flare every like 20 minutes because he can't see what he's doing. Okay, we're going to need a bit more paint on the brush. So obviously the Krieg, I mean, I remember when there was, well, we all probably remember when there was no plastic kits for the Krieg. And it was very much so, if you saw an army of Krieg in real life, it was like, wow, it was the thing. Everybody would be gathering around to have a look at them because it was so expensive, so elusive, so hard to come by. But now we've kind of got the plastic kits, it's a lot more accessible for everybody. But most people want to go like that, kind of like paying homage to their trench warfare kind of routes and going high infantry camp. But I'm actually going for a high artillery, high tank setup for my army because I kind of like the idea that they're kind of like a little bit different. Doesn't everybody like to be a little bit different? And say that this Krieg company, battalion, regiment, yeah, regiment, I think you would call it, is a Krieg regiment that actually enjoys and practices camouflage. I think there would actually be before you say heresy, that would never happen. I think there actually would be a place for that practically within like the Krieg army. So if you think about it, you've got an besieged like settlement that the Krieg are besieging. They kind of are relying on all other avenues, flanks, and everything to be kind of held down. And so, what better way to hold down large swathes of a forested planet than having some camouflage concealed firing positions for these guys to sit in, wait, and to ambush convoys of resupplies and reinforcements. So that's kind of in my head canon what these guys are up to and what their crack is and what they kind of do. So that's just me. I think everybody has their kind of little headcanon of what their chapter or their brigade or their fire team does. And that's the one for these guys. Just something a little different than just World War One foot slogging death corps guys. Like to cook. Okay, that's not somebody commenting. Yeah, I was having a look at the new Christmas box sets that are on the way. I think they're releasing on the 24th of November. I think that's Black Friday. They look pretty damn good, and I think I will be picking up the Krieg box, undoubtedly. I mean, for me personally, I'm a guy who has a lot of tanks. I've got a lot of tanks and not that many infantry as of now, so I'm going to need some boyos to foot slog alongside the machine. So I'm definitely going to be picking that one up. So I think I should talk to you guys about my experience with my brand new local FLGS, friendly local gaming store. It's pretty much unlike any other friendly local gaming store that I've ever been to. Now, we've all been to GW, and GWs, you know, they're good for what they are, and in general, if you've got nothing else to go to, you're going to go to your local Games Workshop. So if you're a bit luckier, you'll live nearby a friendly local gaming store. Well, everyone will be real nice. You get a little cheeky discount, which is kind of standard anywhere you go other than Games Workshop. You're going to get a little bit of a discount, which is wonderful. Usually into the 10 to 15% range. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you'll find somewhere that will do you a 15% discount, 20% discount. Now, somewhere's opened near to me, a new friendly local gaming store that boasts something quite spectacular. And I will be getting an affiliate link with them, so you guys will be able to access this yourself. They're actually selling all of their 40k, all of their Games Workshop items for 25% off. Yeah, I didn't stutter. That wasn't a mistake. I said 25% off. So obviously that is a ridiculous saving, especially if you're looking at one of these Christmas boxes that are coming up, like the Krieg Siege Platoon or whatever it's called. 25% off that box brings it down to about £116. So it's a lot. I mean, when we're talking in this day and age with this hobby, 25% is a great deal. But there's actually one more element to what makes this friendly local gaming store so great. Now, before we go any further, I've got to tell you all that it's called Red October Games, and it's based in Northumberland, and right at the top of the country, in a little place called Mickley. But what's even more fantastic about this place is not just the fact that they'll do a 25% discount, not just the fact that it's run by some lovely blokes who have immediately befriended me the minute I came through their doors, but it is an Englishman's dream. It is not only a friendly local gaming store, it does not only provide 25% off their miniatures, oh bloody hell, but it's also a pub. That's right, there's a friendly local gaming store that gives you 25% off, and I believe if they don't already, they're opening an online store, and serves ale, beer, spirits, whatever. So you can come in, the gaming's free too. If you think you can make it to the area, you can go in, you can game for free, you can drink, and you can get your miniatures for 25% off. 25% off. That's crazy. So yeah, I'm in a very fortunate position to live somewhere where that is accessible to me. So yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, isn't it the dream of everybody to have somewhere where you can go and sink a few pints and play Warhammer? But that's exactly what we've got there, and those guys deserve every little bit of support you can get. So I don't have the link currently set up because this is literally the first episode and I just kind of whacked this on, but I will on the next one or the next video. I'll be providing a link that you guys can go through, get all your Warhammer for 25% off, and just support them guys, because they're a brand new company and they're brand new online presence, and they're just great. So yeah, 25% off your Warhammer. Can't do much better than that. So I'm going to start talking about. I mean, I'm just scraping for things to talk about. This is kind of the first time I've done this, so I'm just kind of scraping for things to talk about. And I think the next thing I'm going to talk about was something that I hit upon today. I was working and a video came on of a guy talking about. Is this a tired topic? Do I really need to start talking about female space marines right now? Maybe not. Do you know the thing is about female space marines? It's just like inherently, if you just kind of boil it down to what it is in and of itself, if you completely take it apart from everything else, I don't think many people have that much of a problem with it. It's like it's not the fact that there are female space marines; it's the fact that you're forcing there to be female space marines. I think that's kind of the main crux of that. How many things like that? Everybody left when I start talking about that. Yeah, but what can you do? Unfortunately, people try to force their politics onto things, and well, that's just one of them, I guess. But I don't really care that much. So to be honest, I don't know why I'm talking about it. I'm just kind of grasping for things. I personally got no problem with the fact that they're female space marines, but it just kind of stinks of, well, we just know why you guys are doing this, and it just kind of leaves that bad taste in your mouth because you know it's not being done for any genuine reason. But hey, if it does lead to a few people out there feeling like, oh yeah, that enthuses them enough to buy into it or whatever, then hey, who really cares? It's cool with me. I don't really care either way. I know I won't be putting female heads on my Space Marines, but anyone else, you can do what you want. It's hard to say. I mean, like, how long do you leave something as what it is before changing it? Just is a complete perversion. And do you have a duty once you've created something that so many people love? Do you kind of have a duty to kind of preserve that as what it is? If I created a beautiful French onion soup and it was the same way for 30 years and there was a cult following after my beautiful French onion soup, and then I just changed the recipe, added a load of different random ingredients, and then just told people, hey, you just better eat it. If there was a mass exodus of people going to the next shop to buy and eat somebody else's French onion soup, I couldn't really be mad, could I? But that's just my 2 cents. And at the end of the day, it's really not that big a deal. Oh. Let me think. I'm really humbled by the amount of people who've joined this. I mean, pretty much everyone's joined and left, but I don't blame you. I'm not really very good at this yet. So we're about 20 minutes in. This is really disjointed, and it probably isn't very entertaining to listen to. Well, I'll try my best. I'll try my best to keep going. We'll go for about half an hour for the first one. So I think that's pretty much all of these done. I've just been going around and filling these in, making sure that they're not patchy. I'm about to go around on all the ones that are green camo now, I think. Get those touched up and then move on to a different process. It's yeah, I'm pretty happy with the turning out, with how it's turned out. If anybody wants to know what these colours are, to give it a go themselves, we've got the base is Lauren Forest, and then we've got an Elysian green and an Ogren camo, and they're just kind of made in these like three-pronged shapes. None of them have any more than three prongs to them, and I kind of think that's the key. I don't know if I'm actually basing this off like a real life kind of camo pattern. It kind of, some reason, it kind of reminds me of like a World War II kind of German palette almost, but that wasn't really the intention. I just kind of started going with it. But as you can see here, this is kind of what it ends up like once you've added all your weathering on and everything. I haven't done the rest of that. I've just done that as a one panel, and that's what it kind of will end up like, roughly speaking. I think I've made the pattern slightly larger at each element for this one, so I've also got the idea to put some camo netting around it, which I've bought. I've just got to crack on with that when I get to that stage. So yeah, yeah. I'd love to know if anybody's I'd love to know if anybody else who is currently moving away from 40k and going on to OPR. It's pretty much the thing that saved the hobby for me over the last year. I haven't actually played 40k in a few years now. I haven't really played a proper game since 8th edition, to be honest. I don't think the game has got any better since 8th edition. If anything, you could argue the game's gotten progressively worse and worse since 8th edition ended. I mean, 8th edition by all means wasn't a shining example of game design in every respect, but I feel it just, I don't know, it had just, maybe it's the rose tinted glasses, but I feel like that was the last good edition of 40k. It seems in an effort to simplify it, they've just dumbed it, and it just doesn't kind of have that same soul anymore. I was talking about this with my friend today, actually, which is a shame because if you're not into the main game, you're kind of beholden to just other people being available for you to play with, which is a shame, really. But we keep saying like, well, if 11th edition is looks any decent, well, we couldn't even really trust Games Workshop enough for us to get into that because it might be good at the start, it might be good for a while, but once the edition's been out for a lot for like say a few months and you get to learn it and stuff, there's no faith that they're not going to completely change something that's just going to break the game for you. So we've switched over full all the way to one page rules, and I don't see us switching back unless there's a real fundamental change in the way that 40k works. Like, I just inherently think that the you go, I go, controlling your entire force and taking an entire army's worth of movement, shooting, and assault before your opponent's got the chance to do anything is just inherently inferior to the more alternate activation kind of thing that you get with one page rules. And honestly, if you haven't tried it, and I was really resistant to getting over into one page rules, I was really resistant. I kept thinking, well, it's only going to be so good. It's not going to be as good as 40k, or at least I'm not going to be able to find people to play with, even if it is very good. But I got onto it. We kind of I got a few people together in our local area, and honestly, I don't think I'm ever going to look back. It's just nowhere near as 40k is nowhere near as good as one page rules in terms of fun and engagement, especially at Red October Games in Mickley, where you can drink pints while you play Warhammer. It's just perfect. You don't have to be carrying around tomes and worrying about what the last errata or update was. It's just yeah, it's built for people who want to just play the game and have fun. So if you haven't tried one page rules, you absolutely must. Especially for the older guys who haven't, who grew up around the 5th edition and just kind of want fun moments to occur in their games. It's just, yeah, you need to go try it out, honestly. Just take the plunge. So this is a pretty large chunk is having to do this and go over these little patches, but I think it's worth it in the end. Pretty ironic to have a Kriegsman on a camouflage tank, but I've got some headcanon that explains it. It's a bit much to go into right now, but I suppose it kind of makes sense. It makes sense in my own head. And that's kind of all it's about, really. I'd love to know if anybody else has ever heard of a friendly local gaming store where you can, where there's a licensed bar where you can drink beer. Because at Red October Games, that's exactly what you can do. By the way, guys, also you should head up over to Red October Games if you're looking at buying anything in the next few months. All of their Games Workshop products are 25% off and always will be. There's no better saving right now in the United Kingdom. So Red October Games is the one to go for. That they're also great guys, and as I say, they've got a licensed pub on the ground. So there's no better for any local gaming store in all of the United Kingdom, the great United Kingdom. I think maybe other than some of the better elements of the what the British Empire was able to give, I think Warhammer might be the best thing that Britain's ever produced. It's so subtly but like undoubtedly British. It's just so miserable, and we just love a bit of miserable. We love a bit of a good whinge. There's nothing more British than a good whinge, or than a cup of tea and a good whinge. Every good whinge starts with a good cup of tea. And sometimes you can whinge about your cup of tea. If there's anybody here who's not from this side of the pond, I need to clear something up with you guys, right? Tea cannot be made with a microwave. Like, this is something I've heard from my American friends. Is it's like, oh, I made a tea. Yeah, yeah, an English breakfast tea. And oh yeah, it was an English tea. I heated the water in the microwave. There is an absolute sacred covenant as to the way tea should be prepared, right? And if you don't agree with this, you've never had a proper cup of tea. You have to use a kettle, okay, for a start. But say you can use a pan. Just get your boiling water. Just not microwave. I'm just not convinced it doesn't add some kind of weird taste to it. You boil your water up. You put the tea bag in the cup, and then you fill the cup up with the boiling water, and then you mix it around. If you're adding sugar at that point, you will add the sugar. So you got the tea bag, the boiling water, the sugar. Okay, stir it around, stir it around. What I like to do is I like to pick the tea bag up with a spoon, and I squeeze it against the side of the cup to get out all of the tea juice. Once all of that's in there, you take the tea bag out, or well, you don't have to really take the tea bag out at this point, but only at that point do you put the milk in. And you put just enough milk in so it's like the colour of a northern Italian man. And that is how you make a proper good cup of tea. And don't let people be snobby about, oh, you're not supposed to put any bloody sugar in, lad. You know, put sugar in, you can't taste bloody tea anymore. Don't listen to them. I think tea and coffee is best experienced with a little bit of sweetness. But one time, I did know this kid who had his tea so fucking sugary that this kid put 6 or 7 teaspoons of sugar in his tea. You could get his cup of tea and go around to everybody else who's having a cup of tea and drop a little bit of his tea in each one's cup. And his tea was so sugary that would be enough sugar for those teas. It was ridiculous. I think he's got like 3 teeth or something now. Like, seriously, I'm not even joking. I think he's not right. He's not right in the head, and he's definitely going to be costing the NHS some dollar on dental work. That's for sure. So down here, I'm going to add a couple bits more so you kind of see how I put them in. I kind of explained this earlier on, but I'll do it again. So I'll start with a line, and then I'll just choose a little direction. I'll go off in that way. And then that's pretty much it, really. A line with something coming off of it. I'll have to come back to that. I just go straight from the pot with this because otherwise it takes ages. And also, it's not such a bad thing if it looks like it's been painted on by a guardsman. Because, well, it would be really. So it's kind of a little bit. I kind of like painting tanks because for the same reason I like painting orcs. You don't really have to be very careful with it because at the end of the day, it's probably been touched up and retouched in the field many times. So don't worry too much about this because at the end of the day, you're just making it look like it has been painted on by a person, which is fine. So yeah. I've got a little question for anybody who has just joined. If Jesus came back and decided he wanted to start playing Warhammer, which faction do you think he'd be playing? It's hard because you'd immediately think, oh, well, it's probably some Imperial side but then he'd probably find that pretty blasphemous or pretty distasteful. So I think he'd probably play. Oh goodness, maybe this is a bit of a terrible question. I don't think he'd play any of them. I think he'd probably just play the Orcs because they're the ones that seem to be generally having a good time. Everybody else seems to be kind of a bit callous and ungenuine. So at least they're being genuine about things. Oh goodness, a fucking burial kit, lads. Oh. How many people have we had today? We've had an astounding amount of people tune in already. It's been excellent. Never more than a few at a time, but I think there's easily been over 100 people or so. That's excellent. Now for me, pretty much, I think that's enough colour on any one of these patchy zones. Maybe a little bit more over here, actually. Honestly, you think you're done, and it's just a little bit more that needs to be done. It's just the way it goes. I was about to start telling a really long-winded joke, but people keep joining and then leaving, and I think that if this is a joke that takes 3 minutes to take, people aren't going to get the bloody the punchline when it comes in. It sucks. I mean, I wish I could hear people and actually speak to them on this. I kind of sometimes find it a bit hard to just keep talking bollocks when there's nobody else saying anything. I don't know about you guys, but like, I can't play video games by myself much. Like, sometimes I don't get any more. I mean, I used to. Don't get me wrong. I used to be able to sit and play video games for a long period of time. But I only really like to play video games now these days that are like cooperative or games that are multiplayer, specifically multiplayer games where I'm actually playing it with a friend and talking to them at the same time. I just can't really get that kind of enjoyment out of video games anymore. I don't really have I don't know if it's I've got the attention span or the imagination or whatever it is, but I kind of need to have somebody to talk to while I'm playing the game and someone to share the experience with as it's going to be able to enjoy it properly. I guess that's why I like Warhammer so much, because it's inherently every time you play it, you have to play it with someone. I find games where you've got that kind of human element, that human connection while you're playing, just so much more intriguing. That being said, I'm still partial to a Rome Total War 2 campaign, so but they never last very long. I never get to the end of them. I think those Total War games, once you get to a certain point, it just kind of feels like you're colouring in the map. When you've destroyed like Greece and Rome, and there's pretty much no one else to really challenge you, and you're just kind of colouring in the map for the sake of it at that point. And then, yeah, I never really get to the end in that way because I just kind of go, well, what's the point? What am I doing here? I could be doing so many other things with my life right now than colouring in this map on Rome Total War. So yeah, as much as I've actually played that game, I don't think I've ever actually finished it before. If anybody could think of any good ways to overcome backlogs or good ways that people have kind of got themselves into like a rhythm to actually work through their pile of shame, that would be very interesting for somebody to comment below about kind of ways that they've tackled their mountain of boxes, because I've got a little bit of a backlog building up again. I think most of it stems from just general interest in any one project that I take on. I mean, for instance, up here, let me show you. I've got some Storm Boys that I was working on. I had an awesome idea of like this big group of Storm Boys and what I was going to do with them and stuff, and then you just go off it. Like, like the way my mind works, it takes so long to do these guys and paint them up and stuff. Like, I'll have the idea of what I want to do, and by the time you get anywhere near like getting them done, you're just like thinking of the next thing. So I'd love to know if anybody has any tips or ideas or methods that they employ to get through their pile of shame, to get through their backlog, and start painting all of the things that they've actually bought. Because I'm starting to amass not just unpainted miniatures, but literally like unbuilt miniatures in boxes, which is quite crazy. I never thought I'd get to that point. I remember being a kid, and I think everybody else can attest to this, that at one point my Warhammer collection used to be purely limited to what I might maybe get at my Christmas or birthday, if I'd got any Warhammer at all. So the force that I had would only ever increase by like a squad or two a year. And I thought, when I was like 12, 13, I thought, I'm only going to have a 2,000 point or 15,000 point army, 1,500 point army. I'll be about 24 years old. So obviously the minute adult money hit, you just start buying shit. That's what it was like for me and my pals. So excellent. Well, I think that's all the good colour on for that. Oh goodness, I forgot to put a bit up there. So everybody's familiar with friendly local game stores giving a discount of 15%, and some even do 20% sometimes. What if I told you there was a place that's just opened up, a new online entity and friendly local gaming store that did 25% off? It's real. 25% off all Warhammer. Go to redoctobergames.com. I will have an affiliate link up at some point soon that you can use, but by all means, go ahead, go direct to source and go get it and support those guys who are offering 25% off in the UK, and that's going to be forever. That's not a limited time only. I'm for real. All your Warhammer from now is 25% off if you go to Red October Games. I'm hoping to kind of make this into a regular feature of this channel. It's easy for me to do, and it kills two birds with one stone, so I can actually do the hobby and make content at the same time, which is good and what I'm wanting to do. So yeah. So I'm going to start putting some washers on now. If you just joined, you've kind of you've joined at an opportune time, because I've just finished putting all of these patterns on, and now I'm going to start putting a wash on, and then I'll probably end at that, because the wash kind of prevents me from moving any further on with this project. So if you bear with me, I'm just going to find that wash. That didn't take me very long, it's only in camera shade. Okay, well hopefully I've got another one, because that is dry as a bone. Oh goodness, let's have a look. Oh no. Well, I think we might have to settle for a bit of Agrax Earthshade. Pop up the Null Oil. Everybody needs a bit of Null Oil. Okay. Sorry if you've just joined. I'm looking for my shade right now. Thank you for joining. This is going to be a bit of a staple of this channel going forward. I think we're going to do these more often. Hopefully I'm going to have my pal doing them with me, and one kind of format we'd like to play around with is having a topic that we're talking about and people joining. We'd like the people listening to be able to kind of join in on the stream and have their say. So if you were sat here listening to this stream as it went, we would and if you wanted to join in to say a few words on the topic, we'd get you in and you could physically say things on the stream. I think that would be a pretty cool idea, just kind of like how they do it old school with the radio shows and things like that. So that could be a good idea. Yeah, let's put some washers on. This stuff's looking a bit goopy. That's no good. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. One thing I'd like to talk about while I'm on here is I feel that like that wonder and that mystery that I had as a kid as it pertains to Warhammer is kind of lost really. Even people getting into it now can't possibly have that same sense of wonder that people from my generation when they first got into Warhammer. When I first got into Warhammer, all that you could do to access information was read the White Dwarf or talk to people. And so there were kind of these like little legends about the game and things about it, units and things that you'd never even seen depicted. You hadn't even seen it in a White Dwarf. Then it was just upon the lips of somebody that you'd spoken to. Same thing goes for well, all sorts of things, units and rules and game mechanics and pieces of lore. Now every single thing that you want to know for sure is just like one Google search away, when it used to be so much more mystery to it. Nowadays it's kind of just watered down. It's probably the best way to put it, which is a shame, because a big part of it was just like all the questions that it posed. Like it just, for every thing that presented to you, it posed 5 questions, and it took time to find all this information out. Whereas nowadays it's so easy to just go and find it. There's no mystery to Warhammer anymore. It's all out there. And it kind of takes away from the whole thing really, which is a shame. That's just another reason why, another way that technology and the ever progressing social media connection across the world has just kind of eroded the human experience. But what can you do? Because it also brings us, well, lots of stuff, I suppose. Well, that's looking pretty decent. This Agrax is feeling a little bit stiff. I'm not really particularly enjoying this. Don't think it's at its correct consistency for this right now. It's not quite going on as I'd like, which is worrying because this is a big expensive model. Water it down a bit. Water this down a bit, lads. It's looking a bit fucking goopy. It's looking a bit goopy, boys. Goopy Agrax. That's no good, that, lads. That's no good at all. Ooh. Now, it doesn't really matter. We can be pretty liberal with this. We can be pretty liberal. I want them to look very dirty anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, I want some control, and it kind of seems like it might be spelching up and gathering together and making blotches, but that's not actually particularly a bad thing, really. Because I suppose dirt does do that. So Agrax Earth is just supposed to be like general earthy grime, isn't it? So it's not so bad. It's not so bad, mate. It's not so bad. Yeah, so if you guys have just joined, this is the first ever hobby with the homie that I've ever done. And hopefully we'll be doing more. I started this channel doing airsoft stuff, but then I made a video, which is, I think, the most viewed Xenomorph Tyranid paint scheme video on YouTube. Which is crazy because, you know, I've never really put too much time into this, but it's probably worth it. I think more people have joined this stream than I could have imagined, so there's something to it. And obviously right now I'm working on the Krieg stuff. I haven't really done any more on the Tyranids at all, I'm afraid. So if anybody was dropping in to query about that, I'm afraid I've got nothing for you. The Tyranids are just woefully painful to paint. I mean, even in that scheme, to be fair, makes it very easy. So there's nothing really stopping me from painting. It's just the interest in which faction do you want to get on the table in such limited time as you have as a semi-responsible adult human. You can only really focus on what's the most important that you want fielded the quickest, and currently to me getting this done is the priority. So on we go. Let's start on the big turret here. Go on, son. Let's start up there. My pal had just got into the Imperial Guard, as I still kind of like to call them. And they are simply fantastic. I mean, painting tanks is so much nicer than painting squads of infantry, in my opinion. It's a lot easier, a lot more forgiving. And here we are. Painting tanks. I'm going to have to work on something to do in these videos, or something to talk about in these videos, where I can actually retain people, because I'm just kind of like scratching my head with things to say. I didn't really think about it. I just turned it on and started. So next time I'll come a bit more prepared, and we'll talk about some stuff a bit more organized next time, I think. But yeah, I'm one of these guys who can just talk all day, but not really unprompted or just by myself. I don't really talk to myself, so it's a little bit challenging trying to come up with topic after topic, tie them together and make them interesting. It's one thing to do it when you've got someone else to talk to. That I am pretty good at, so we'll make it work. Couldn't have Mr. Squiddy on today because he's seeing off his brother who's going to Australia, so he's not with us tonight, but he will be for the next time we do this, absolutely. He wouldn't miss a chance to waffle on, I don't think. And we've got him off the ganja now, so his brain will work properly, and he'll know to keep talking. What can you say? What can you say? Have we not all dabbled with a bit of the devil's lettuce before? Hush, hush tones. Hush, hush now. Don't tell everybody James does we. Doesn't anymore. He's a reformed gentleman. He's a reformed gentleman. We do have one pretty big topic that we could get into and talk about, but it's got nothing to do with 40k, and it's very... You're either into it and interested, or you're not. To be fair, I'm not even going to go into it now. So I don't even know if I'm hopefully interested in it, but I'm trying to be. That'd be a pretty interesting decision to start this channel with talks about religion. I don't think I'm going to go there. Best to stick to things, to talk about things that you know about, I think, and that's already not that many things, so yeah, I'm going to... I'm also awaiting the birth of my first child, which could literally drop at any minute, like a new DLC. It is a new DLC in my life, is a baby, and it could drop at any minute. I pre-ordered it. Well, I think... Oh, a little bit on there I've missed. How dairy. How fucking dairy, lads. Right, now that's been nice and mucked up. I'm just going to take away the big pools. So I don't actually want much pooling. We'll get that later if I add some non-oil to look like oil. Right, looks nice and dirty. Give it a bit of character. I like it. It's going well. It's going well so far, guys. I'm going to leave it there for today. This has been more of a test than anything. I'm going to come a bit more prepared next time, guys. But for everybody who has joined this evening, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. As always, get yourself over to Red October Games. They sell all their Games Workshop stuff for 25% off. Red October Games, guys, 25% off. No one does it as good as Red October. So get on over there and give them some support. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. This is me, away.